If you look at top earners, they invariably upsell. Upsell jobs is good. That's when you go into somebody's lawn and you suggest you're going to clear their gutters or remove some rubbish or weed the garden, or if you go into a house to clean it and you offer to clean the window or the you know, whatever, clean the oven, anything at all. It doesn't have to be even related to the actual job. It could be changing light bulbs for an elderly client. It's just what else can you do? And that's got multiple advantages. One is that you're already there, so there's no travel. Secondly, extras you normally charge a higher hourly rate for. You might be charging, say, $70 an hour for mowing the lawn and like $150 an hour effectively for cleaning out the gutters. And the third thing, clients like it because you do more than one job.
Yeah.
So you're actually more valuable to them. They don't have to have different people come in. You can do everything for them. So it's a very powerful thing. And we teach people how to do this too. There's actually a way of approaching clients. You don't go and ask them, do you want so-and-so done? Because that invites a no. What you say, if there's anything else you ever want done, like, gutters cleared, gardening, rubbish removal, happy to help. So you put it as an offer without asking a direct question, so the client doesn't feel pressured and you don't feel the risk of rejection. We teach them phrases like that.
Yep.
So it's similar. How do you get referrals? Do brilliant work, and then you hand the client 3 business cards. So you say, here's my business card, and here's a couple of extra in case you know anybody who wants work done. Now you don't have to ask a direct question. You simply show them that. That tells them, hey, I need more work. Hey, do you know anybody?
Yeah.
So you teach these little tricks of the trade, these little phrases, ways of doing things that people don't. Well, I never picked up on those. People smarter than me work them out, but you learn from other people.
Yeah, there's no endorsement like a personal endorsement. Absolutely.
Well, I talk about customer service. That's a big issue. I talk about service to franchisees, which is relevant to franchising only, of course. But you talk about resilience, bookkeeping, use of computer software, occupational health and safety, dealing with difficult clients, upselling, putting down for work effectively to increase the flow of leads, self-marketing, social media, those kind of subjects too. We found that actually has a major impact. When we started, before we were running organised training sessions, we were losing about 1 in 6 in the first year. Now it's more like 1 in 8 or 10. The actual attrition rate dropped dramatically as soon as we started doing that.
That's really good.
I was one of the first contractors in Australia back in the 70s to have a brush cutter because it used to frustrate me that I couldn't do all the edges perfectly, like around the trees and retaining walls, and bugged me. Nobody ever commented, but it annoyed me. So that when I found about this machine, the first time I ever saw one, I bought it and I started to use it, and you could do a job better than people could do for themselves. And people were just, wow, okay. Because they know what they can do for themselves, but they can't do what I can do.
Yeah.
No, I actually for a long time I thought mowing was just a sort of a sideline until something more promising came along. It kind of surprised me. I really didn't think that I knew I had to try and get money to fund my research, but I didn't really think it would be the mowing business that did it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that was one of the things also too, when you say early on in the book that what really is the driving force behind all of this is the institute, your real passion. And when I was reading that, I was reminded of what Robert Kiyosaki says in terms of know your real business. Like you might use real estate or you might use whatever it is, but know what it is really that's driving you. So that's been a passion that's been with you lifelong ever since your studies, correct?
Yeah. I've got a reason to get up in the morning. Certainly my research is very important to me, and we're funding it. We're spending something over $3 million a year these days on basic neuroscience research, but also my franchisees too, to a large extent. I feel very committed to them. So you have to have a reason, a sense of purpose in what you do, for sure. Otherwise your life is fairly, I'm helping to create a great livelihood for my franchisees, which is the main thing.
Yeah.
And I'm giving great service to customers. And we do look after them very well. If they have a problem with the job, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
No matter what it takes, no matter what it costs, we will fix it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I picked up on there. The 3 tasks of the business is find customers, sell service, build the business, but then it was also tied in about love your staff, put your people first, keep open channels of communication with respect and gratitude. So,
I find the Chicago School, Milton Friedman, that kind of idea that the only service of a business is to the stakeholders, to the shareholders. I find that obnoxious.
yeah, I would agree.
It's morally obnoxious. I don't even think it's good business in the long term. And you look at someone like Jack Welch, who was at one stage the most admired business leader of the 20th century and made an absolute fortune for himself, but sacked people, cut back on research, got rid of experienced staff and went to non-union states and all kinds of things that he did. And after he left GE, just collapsed. This is great, magnificent company, well over a century old. He virtually destroyed it. He really did by putting the money first. And I just don't believe that's the way to run a business. You've got to have an interest in it. You've got to be able to make profitable. You've got to be able to make money. But it should never be your first priority.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that when you and I first started developing a friendship, I started to admire that aspect of your personality, because I've met a few highly successful entrepreneurs before, and have found that the driving force has always been profit. And whilst I am so far from being a socialist, it's not funny. I certainly see that the role of business is about creating benefit, not just money. Yeah.
I actually do think Christian values has a lot to do with the success of gyms, because I'm not extraordinarily capable in business sense. There's so many things I do badly. So you're trying to understand why the business succeeds. A lot of it is basic Christian ethics. It's like really caring about your people. And it just has to be genuine, not just for the sake of money. It goes far beyond that. You know, you've got to be emotionally committed to your people, emotionally committed to your customers, and that's not a rational calculation. So many of the best decisions I ever made were made contrary to what seemed to be my own personal financial interests. But you do it all the time. You get into a situation where somebody's left the business, for example. You say, look, I'm sorry it's failed for you. Wipe off any fees owed, this kind of stuff. We just do a lot of things of that nature.
Yeah, that's almost unheard of outside of this business, from what I understand.
Yeah. Which is it's good Christian morality, but in another sense too, I think in the long run it's probably fairly good business sense, because even a person who fails is still out there talking about it.
Yeah.
And if they've been dealt with in compassion,
yeah,
and with some care for them as an individual, or some expressed sorrow, and doing everything you can to make life better for them and life easier for them, then, if they're talking to somebody or their friends or anybody else, they're talking about their experiences, there's another element come across. You can't quantify that exactly. You can quantify the fact that I've just given away $2,000, but you can't quantify the potential beneficial effects.